Hello, everyone around the world. My name is Billy Davis. I'm a former United States Marine, and I'd like to have a little discussion about uh, fire, personal firearms. Given it's like I don't own any. Now, it's not saying I probably won't own any in the near future, but I'm a sole believer that any person who goes through the training and education of carrying firearms and doing it uh, consciously and responsibly should be able to carry those weapons. Now, my belief is that, and I go as there's a lot of government officials and everything who back this up and everything, is that people who are diagnosed with mental instabilities, uh, specifically some that I've seen and everything, being in the military or those and stuff, are suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome and uh, who have short fuses, so to say. Um, these people, yes, should not. If there's a medical record of them having this, having some type of mental instability, I think it should be researched in the licensing program for carrying firearms and for registration. So that way these people can be denied those privileges. Now, these things that are happening in school systems, with kids bringing guns to school, now I have to deal with this and stuff with an aspect. This has to come down to a lot of the parents behind this. Okay, something has happened to this kid's life where he did not get the support he needed and everything to supply that structure where he could know what was right and what was wrong. These kids don't even know what it is, what is right, what is wrong. They're seeing inside. Basically, they're like horses with blinders on and everything, with these mental instabilities that they have. All they see is this one small track path, but don't see the other paths in front of them. So our job, and I'm a parent myself, our job as parents is to show our children those sides of those different paths that they can take and know which one's right and which one's wrong. Now, in our uh, in our lives that we have created and stuff, especially how the United States works and everything, especially when it comes down to marriages, um, there is a lot of there is you think about it and everything. On average, 60% of all marriages that go on and everything end up in divorce within 10 to 15 years. Why? Why is that? Well, just because the way kids are, the error that's been brought up and the errors that are being brought up is saying, it's basically being taught that okay, divorce is okay. Okay, well, it's not. It's not okay. All right, because for a structure for a child, it takes two parents. Okay, when those parents split, they have a mindset that gets split as well, because you have a mindset of one parent that goes one way away from the other, and then you have the mindset of the other parent going the other way, complete opposite. And what does that do to a child? If two parents don't stand on the same ground, their children will end up in destruction. Now, some work it out. Some can do this, being in divorce, can work together. I'll give you my situation. Me and my ex can't. For some reason. Uh, I'm trying and everything, different avenues and everything to try to get through to her and everything so that way we can benefit our children's future. But all things I have done have failed in miserably in some type of way. Uh, I'm a Catholic. My ex got into pagan witchcraft beliefs, uh, and I mean there's really nothing more to say than that. I'm dealing with a woman who believes in fantasy. She believes fairies exist, for God's sakes. Uh, for one aspect, here's one example. and everything is that I'm in the backyard. She failed to take care of the garden in the back, and I threatened her. I told her, I was like, I'm going to cut this garden down if you don't tend to it. And it's like, you've got 1 week to clear this thing up, or I'm cutting it down. Well, her and a friend of hers started cleaning up and everything, got about half of it done, about a weekend. And I came to her and I was like, you failed. I'm cutting it down. And she's, first thing she said, and I had both my neighbors outside. One, God bless his soul, passed away a while back and everything, but my other older neighbor, Gene, he was still around. But I'm going to cut it down. She comes running out and she's like, you can't cut that down. There's a fairy that lives out there. Okay, in this aspect, thinking about weapons, this is not a woman I would want near sharp objects, let alone a gun. Okay? I mean, this is it's out there. I mean, people who can subject their minds to fantasy and basically seeing fairies, pink elephants, on different types of psychotropic drugs or hallucinogens. Yeah, people like that do not need guns, okay? They want guns, but they don't need them. Again, I think that we should have stricter rules and guidelines for carry, conceal, and registration of weapons. Those who are diagnosed and recorded and everything should not carry weapons. Now, you have those that slip through the cracks that somehow don't ever get diagnosed with anything and everything, and I think a lot of that has to do with parenting structures. Nobody wants to know that their child has some type of mental weakness or deficiency. Okay? I deal with it too. I mean, it's like I got a son and everything who has ADHD. So, I mean, I know how it works. Okay, and he's on psychotropic drugs and stuff, but maybe he'll grow out of it, maybe he won't. I've got a man I used to work with and everything. He's over 40 years old, still on and still diagnosed with ADHD. Okay, but he was a hard worker. I mean, I give him, it's like he would run the pants off anybody in the shop. Okay, but he had to stay busy, or else he'd just lose focus. And that's what it is with those children today. They have to stay busy. You have to keep their mind firing. You got to wear them down mentally. Physically, it's not about that with them. Okay, you can wear a child out. You can wear any child out physically. But for a good parent is to wear down their mind. That's why kids don't sleep well. They're so wound up and everything with their mind firing on so many cylinders, they can't get to sleep. And then they're diagnosed with, they can't get enough sleep, so now they're giving them sleep medications and everything tonight, and then turns them into zombies and stuff in the morning. So, and then that affects how they are in school. So a lot has to do with pointing the finger at you, the parents. Me. I point the finger at myself. If anything happens with my child, I point the finger at myself because I'm the one that could have changed it. Because this is my life. These are my children's lives. Even though in my situation, I am very limited to what I can do for my children. But hopefully in the future that will change. Now, for all of you out there who have the choice to be part of your children's lives again, please do that. You think God ever turned his back on his son? He was there every step of the way and was willing to destroy our entire existence for his son. And that's the kind of love that us parents should have for our children. I know work gets you down, beat you up and everything, but let your kids pick you back up. Don't miss out on any moment of their lives. Love them as if it was the last day you were going to have with them. Now, this whole thing was split on two different areas. We started out on weapons and we ended up on parents' love for their children, but they all tie together, because the future that you give your children, the knowledge that you pass on to them, but that knowing between what's right and what's wrong, is what's going to affect them if they're even going to be allowed to carry a weapon, or even allowed in the military. Okay? So, please, I beg of you, everyone out there, take care of your children as if it's the last day you'll have with them. You might be their last hope. You're their parents. Be their parents. And I'll close with the weapons again. If you have nothing wrong with you mentally, I have no quarrels or problems and stuff with you having weapons. The more level-headed people we have with them, the better off this country is. But those of you, and you know who you are, that know you have some type of instability, please don't cross that line. People like me won't blink, because you will be the first to go and the situation will arise, because you're the ones that we can't trust. Because in the defense of this country, we need those who can think decisively and act on instinct, not act on a fantasy that's driven into their mind to become reality for them. So for those, stay away from weapons. And for those who have weapons, please relinquish them. Not just for the good of the people around you, but for the good of the American people and culture that we are trying to save. Love thy neighbor like you love your brother. And that, I'm sorry, that's a little sensitive. When love thy neighbor, love like your brother. I had one of those. God bless his soul. Some people are taken way too young. So, this is Billy Davis. Take care. Have a good evening. And I hope this hits some of you out there to heart. Our kids' schools, our livelihood. Things like this can happen anywhere we are at the drop of a hat. Parents be parents. Husbands, wives, try to work things out. If you have to argue, don't do it in front of your children. Don't create any instabilities that doesn't have to happen inside your child's minds. Love them as God loved his. Goodbye, America. Good night.